Hello YouTube, Matthew Williams here, and I'm not a very happy Teddy tonight, and it's nothing to do with crop circles. I'm quite incensed, and you'll probably guess why when I explain in a second. I'm going to try and keep it metered. My little bit of snuff there. I'm going to try and keep this metered because it's a very emotive subject, and for many years I've actually had feelings on this subject, told them to people that I know closely, but never done anything about it on a big scale. And I think now it's time that I actually make my feelings known widely, and I'm going to do something about this, and I am going to take this very far, and if necessary I will take it all the way to the Houses of Parliament. And I'm certainly going to be contacting my MP about this, because the hypocrisy involved in what you're about to hear now going on is immense. Now, this is a side. I'm going to tell you some stuff, not this week, but in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to tell you some stuff that's been going on in my personal life, which, you know, is quite fucked up, okay? So I'm going to tell you some stuff, but the timing is not right now. There's certainly a lot of stuff been going on, but when I saw this tonight, I thought this actually takes priority, because this is so hypocritical. It's unfucking believable. Okay, now what we're dealing with, let's show you what I saw tonight. This is a planning application. Sorry, it's a bit squashed, but I'll read to you the application number is E/10/0837/FUL. So that's E/10/0837/FUL. Now you can find this on the Wiltshire planning site, which is kennet.gov.uk. I got to it by going to Wiltshire sort of council, which is wiltshire.gov.uk, then clicking on the planning bit, going to the planning explorer for the east part of Wiltshire, and you can type in the specific application, you select that, and then you put in the application. Now, this application is for a cafeteria, a cafe at Avebury. Now, what's the problem with that, you might say? Well, nothing really, except this cafeteria is going to be where the toilets are, the Avebury toilets, which is between the lodge and the Red Lion pub. Okay, now I stopped in Avebury this evening at 7 o'clock because I needed to use the toilets, and knowing there are toilets there, and knowing that Avebury is a National Heritage Site which people travel to 365 days of the year, and they come in the mornings, the daytime, the evenings, and even the middle of the night. Okay, those are the toilets for Avebury. They are the public toilets. They were locked, all of them, all locked. Now, I've been going to Avebury for many years, and those toilets are open in the evenings, but they were locked. So I was stuck with a problem. What do I do? Where do I go to the toilet? I'm pretty desperate. What do I do? Well, I can go into the Red Lion pub, but then, you know, it's a pub. You're expected to be a patron to use the toilets. I mean, it's a bit rude to go in and use them without. You can do, but, you know, you'd rather not have to, considering right next to that pub there are public toilets which are supposed to be open for Avebury. Now, okay, there's a planning application outside there, and the planning application says we want to take these toilets and we want to turn them into a cafe. Now, okay, you might say, what's the problem with reallocating this building to being a cafe? And I would say, did you know that objections were made to a previous applicant who I don't actually like very much, Mr. Charles Mallard, who is the crop circle guy, right? He used to run the Silent Circle Cafe at Chair Hill. He's now moved it to a location near the Yatesbury. Okay, now he tried for planning application for that site, which is actually a prime location, because if you're driving into Avebury, you drive along the road and straight in front of you are the toilets. So they're quite handy really, because straight in front of you are toilets, so you can pull off and use the toilets. And also the Red Lion pub. So you've got the toilets and the Red Lion pub are the two primary things you see when you drive into Avebury. So this is a prime location, okay? Now, Mr. Charles Mallard put in his application that he wanted to use just the upper part, the upper section of the building for use as a crop circle centre. And he was basically denied the planning application, and he eventually withdrew his application because he realised he was meeting such resistance and he wasn't getting anywhere. Now, I don't know the full circumstances behind his withdrawal. I'd be interested if anybody does have the full details, but he didn't get the application and there was some resistance. Now I'm going to show you what resistance there was. The resistance came from locals who live in Avebury, and also from people that don't live in Avebury but have an interest in Avebury. Now, I qualify as somebody who doesn't live in Avebury but have an interest in Avebury too, and I will tell you why I think this is a bad idea in a second, and I hope you agree with me, because I can make some very interesting points here which I don't think get made very often and should be about Avebury and the National Trust and the way they take the piss out of the tourists who go there. So, trying to maintain some composure, let me introduce you to why Avebury is fucked because of the National Trust. Okay, here's a letter which is the Dear Development Manager. Now I've got to pull up my copy, and it says, this is regarding the one for Charles Mallard's application. It says, Dear Area Development Manager, I am writing with concern about this application. The change of use will lead to increased traffic congestion in this area, and as such, this is directly where the buses accessing Avebury stop. There is also a note of caution regarding what type of retail outlet is proposed. There are poor refuse facilities in Avebury, yes, there are recycling bins, but there is a concern that the shop, i.e. the crop circle shop, will lead to an increase in litter and indeed people hanging around outside the adjacent residential building which I live in. The plan seems to suggest that the lavatories will stay open accordingly. This means that the locality may become more of a focus for visitors and spoil the rural nature of the locality. Andrew Blackall. Now, I believe this is the same person. Let me just double check. Andrew Blackall is the person who runs the lodge, which is it's right next door to the toilets. Now, I'm probably going to run out of time here, so I'm going to have to go on to the next one. This is a complicated issue, right? You have to get your head around it a bit, but I think it's worth you watching the next piece, because I think you might want to help in writing to the council and actually doing something to stop this happening. Okay? Andrew Blackall runs the bed and breakfast, which is next door. Now, he writes about complaining of his concerns with the idea for it to be a cafe, which is the recent application, which is made by the National Trust. So the National Trust have made an application now. Right, we've got 1 minute to go, so I'm probably going to stop it here because I always run out of time, so I'll stop it here and we'll go on to the next video. So